Hello, everyone. Hope everybody's having a great weekend out there. Welcome to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. Remember to leave your comments here down below, as I will be available all day today to answer any of your comments. And also be sure to subscribe to my channel for all the latest forecast updates, as I'll keep you ahead of all the storms here coming up this week and through much of spring and summer. Good morning or actually good afternoon in Naples, Florida here. Today I'm starting my two-day forecast here for selected random cities across the U.S. Leave your comments below and I will be able to do that here for the rest of time here as we move along. Coming up here through the weekend into next week as well. Today here in Naples, Florida, high temperature here of 81 degrees, lower 60s to around 60 for lows tonight. Sunny skies as we head into today with a 0% chance of rain. And tomorrow in Naples, tomorrow's high in the middle 80s, 85, low to mid 60s for lows, 63 with mostly sunny skies and a 0% chance of rain. Also here, good afternoon here in Seattle, Washington. Highs today around 60 degrees, cloudy skies, 20% chance of rain here with lows tonight dropping into the middle and upper 40s. And then tomorrow here, middle 50s for highs, 55 with lows in the low 40s at 42. Also cloudy skies there as well with a 20% chance of rain here in Seattle, Washington. High temperatures across the rest of the country here as we head into today. Low to mid 30s across here the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes region. Some 20s mixed in there as well. Very warm across the Texas area here and down into the deep south where 80s and 90s are likely. As we head into tonight here, colder air will continue to be bottled up here into the northern and northeastern portions of the country. Some single-digit lows here around portions here of northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, maybe far northern portions here of the state of Michigan there as well. And also here some low to mid 60s for lows around the desert Southwest, lower 50s across portions of the Texas Panhandle and getting down into the North Florida Panhandle here as well. Tomorrow, a lot of warm air continued across the central and southern plains out ahead of our next big storm system that I will be talking about here in just a moment. Low 90s and upper 80s across most of the Texas area, and here low to mid 80s across here the Florida Panhandle, and a lot of colder air here up into the northeast with highs in the 20s as well, maybe even a few snow showers here across those areas with all the cold air. These are the alerts here today. I am growing concerned about a red flag warning across central portions of Texas, also here into Georgia, portions of western North Carolina, up into South Dakota. The most concerning one here is into central portions of Texas where there's an ongoing drought. So do be here on guard if you do have any plans for grilling and any other stuff like that. And any fires outside, because there is a big drought in those areas and do not want to have any issues with that spreading fires across those areas. Let's move along here. The day 3 outlook here from the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted a marginal risk of severe weather here from central Iowa, west central Illinois, down through most of Missouri, western portions of Arkansas, getting down into central and east Texas, with a slight risk zone from northwest Missouri around Kansas City, getting down towards Wichita here, Oklahoma City and Tulsa, Oklahoma proper area, Moore, Oklahoma, El Reno, Oklahoma, getting down to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, down maybe close to the Austin, Texas area, and then getting off to the west here toward Waco, Texas, and those areas. With all modes of severe weather in play here, with damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, large hail up to around $half size, and potentially here a tornado or two is possible, especially centered here on Oklahoma and portions of North Texas as we head into your Tuesday, as we head into Tuesday next week. Also, here the Storm Prediction Center's here day 4 outlook shows an enhanced risk of severe weather centered on here Mississippi, western portions here of Alabama, eastern and northeastern portions of Louisiana, and southeastern portions of Arkansas, with a slight risk here, 15% risk around Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, getting up into the foothills here of Missouri, far southern Illinois, much of the state here of Arkansas and Louisiana, and getting back into far east Texas here, with the earliest storms here across the western portions of this highlighted area, with later storms here as we move to the east across the enhanced. I do expect us to get upgraded here in the next couple of days to potentially a moderate risk as we head into next week. So do want to be on guard, as there is a potential for yet another severe weather and tornado outbreak across these same areas like we had last week. So do be on guard for that. And then the day 5 probability here of a slight risk of severe weather here from southeastern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, getting into Maryland, around the Washington, D.C. area, getting down here into portions of Virginia and into North Carolina, around Charlotte, and getting into far northern and northeastern portions here of South Carolina as well. Now, why is this happening? We do have a lot of fuel in the atmosphere here as the boundary layer dew points will be creeping up into the upper 50s, lower 60s across portions of east central Oklahoma, getting down into east central Texas, much of the state of Louisiana and Arkansas. So a lot of fuel here for these thunderstorms to grow with the updrafts here, and that is due to here the surface-based cape or instability here in the atmosphere. Not very high here on Tuesday, so that is kind of why I think the mitigated severe weather threat will kind of be mitigated to more of a slight risk zone across the central and southern plains, but nonetheless still a severe weather day, and do want to be on the lookout for a couple tornadoes, damaging winds like I said in excess of 60 miles per hour, and also hail up to around $half size across these areas, with some instability probably around 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram at the highest across these areas, with some shear as well. This is the wind shear here output from the NAM model and the short-term model that I'm using today. And you can see shear will be not overly intense here on Tuesday, but just enough to get these storms to go. And sometimes shear here can kind of override instability sometimes to make up the lack of the instability here. Sometimes the shear can pick up that the lack of the instability. So that will kind of make these thunderstorms grow, organize themselves as they push from west to east across these areas, with some embedded supercells here as well. The significant tornado parameter, like I said, not very impressive here whatsoever. A couple areas across central and eastern portions here of Kansas, getting down into portions of Oklahoma, maybe North Texas, with the chance here of a stronger tornado, but I think the stronger tornado risk will hold off another day until Wednesday. But nonetheless, here tornadoes of at least EF0 to EF2 range is here likely to unfold as we head here into our Tuesday. The hodographs, not very curved here, got some curvature, especially as you get down here into Oklahoma. The hodographs are kind of the difference in wind speed and wind shear with height. So you can see the curves in the atmosphere of how all this works with all the rotation in the atmosphere. This is just showing here the curvature, and not very curved in the hodographs here today. Looking at the models for the Tuesday event, but here still enough to produce maybe, like I said, an isolated tornado or two. Moving along here, you can see the NAM model, 987 millibar low centered around central and northern portions of Kansas. This will begin to develop thunderstorms, especially as you get down into here the Oklahoma and Texas border around Wichita Falls, getting back here into central Texas. Some of these could be supercells and also multi-cells that can produce some damaging wind and some hail. Also here the threat of a tornado or two, and this will start to grow upscale as it pushes to the east, upscale into kind of a squall line or bowing structures here as it pushes to the east, with some here outflow winds pushing the storms along. Could have some bowing structures along the leading edge of the squall line, and that could also lead to a couple of tornadoes as well as we head into our Wednesday. Looking at our Wednesday here, output of the NAM model's dew points, you can see low to mid 60 dew points, even upper 60 dew points across most of Louisiana, getting down into Mississippi, southeastern Arkansas, western Tennessee, getting down here into portions of western and southwestern portions of Alabama. A lot of fuel once again for these thunderstorms to work with, and this is going to feed into the threat of these storms organizing and producing some intense severe weather here on Wednesday. The surface-based cape or instability here Wednesday is a little more impressive here than on the Tuesday event, centered around Louisiana, Mississippi, southeastern portions here of Arkansas, some getting back here into the central plains once again, but I think the main front will kind of be moving from west to east, a little more progressive than what this model is showing. The front should be centered around eastern Arkansas, northwestern portions here of Louisiana, and far eastern Texas as we head into late Wednesday afternoon, and that will set the stage for a more impressive outbreak of severe weather here as we head into Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and surrounding states here as we head into Wednesday. The shear output is looking very impressive here day by day, and this has been continuous here as the shear kind of rounds this trough here into the desert southwest, into the southern plains, and it's going to provide a lot of lift, a lot of shear profiles strong enough to produce a few strong tornadoes, especially in the same areas that we had last week. So New Orleans, be on lookout, up toward Baton Rouge, Jackson, Mississippi, over toward Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, those areas, Huntsville. Got to be on the lookout here for some very strong tornadoes as we head into Wednesday afternoon and even into the overnight hours here, as well as the severe weather will be continuing from west to east. The significant tornado parameter is looking very impressive here, at least at early glance. This is still a few days out and some pretty high values across portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, getting into portions here of Alabama, western Tennessee. Got to be watching this here as this threat will continue to grow as we head into our midweek of next week. And this is getting pretty intense here with values getting pretty high across Louisiana, around the New Orleans region, getting back up to Baton Rouge, getting back up towards Shreveport, over towards Jackson, Mississippi, getting up toward Memphis. Got to be watching this here. A few strong tornadoes are possible, if not likely, in this setup here, especially if you can have some discrete storms along your southern flank of this squall line that can feed into a lot of this moisture, a lot of the instability to grow some of the pretty intense thunderstorms here by themselves as we head into late Wednesday and then Wednesday night. The hodographs, or curvature here with rotation in the atmosphere, looking very impressive here across especially the Jackson, Mississippi area, getting down here towards maybe Mobile, Alabama, to getting even down toward New Orleans, Shreveport. Those areas looking very impressive just a few days out yet, and here a lot of rotation being shown in the atmosphere. So this is indicative of a atmosphere that is ripe for strong tornadoes, strong straight line winds in excess of 70 miles per hour perhaps, and also here some very large hail with these storms, could be around golf ball size or larger, so we'll have to watch that here as we head into next week as well. And this will continue. You can see here how the model shows this, kind of a squall line across portions here of Arkansas, getting down to Louisiana, western portions of Mississippi. This will only continue to push east as we head into late Wednesday afternoon to the evening hours. Jackson, Mississippi, on up toward Memphis, western Tennessee, maybe up toward the Paducah, Kentucky area, foothills here of Missouri, down into portions of like Baton Rouge, New Orleans. These areas, be on guard for some very strong storms. I think on the southern flank of this line, there could be some pretty intense storms once again that could produce some strong tornadoes, maybe some violent tornadoes as well. So do want to be on the lookout for that as we head into Wednesday. And then this line will continue to push to the east, western and middle Tennessee, pushing along the Mississippi-Alabama border as we head into Wednesday evening around dinner time, east of Jackson here at that point, and getting down, tailing its way down toward New Orleans. So the evening hours will be fair game for the New Orleans region once again, getting up towards Birmingham, Tuscaloosa. Got to be on the lookout for some strong and intense weather here as we head into Wednesday evening. And then this will continue to push east here as we head through time, and I think the dynamics will start to lose its punch a little bit as we head into Thursday, but still an overall severe weather threat here from southern New Jersey, the Maryland region, including Washington, D.C., down through Charlotte, portions of these areas here, Richmond, Virginia. Got to watch these areas for some strong and severe weather. I think more scattered in nature of severe weather on Thursday, and there's a potential for an upgrade, but I think the slight risk at this time, as the Storm Prediction Center puts it, is very reasonable, I think. So that is a good thing on their end to keep a good forecast going. So I think storms will be even going down here into southern portions here of Georgia, North Florida Panhandle. Not expecting a huge severe weather down in these areas as it's kind of outrunning all the better dynamics, but still a couple strong storms are possible, but nothing overly intense across those areas as we head into Thursday afternoon. But we'll continue to watch it nonetheless. Dew points Thursday, still upper 50s, low 60s, mid 60, and even upper 60 dew points getting down into the southeast. I mean, there's a lot of juice still in the atmosphere for these storms to work with, to grow. Also produce some heavy rain along its path here as well from west to east across the deep south. So a lot of rainfall with these storms. Instability not as impressive here on Thursday, but still there, around 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram in spots. So that'll be enough to get these storms going. And then with the wind shear in place, still plenty of wind shear across these areas. We'll get these storms to organize, the updrafts to maintain themselves, and we get some strong thunderstorms here as well, especially across here the eastern seaboard into the mid-Atlantic regions as we head into Thursday afternoon. The hodographs, curvature in the atmosphere with rotation here on our Thursday. Not super curved, but enough to maybe a couple of tornadoes are still possible here, even on Thursday. Even with the better dynamics moving away, still a chance of a couple of tornadoes here. Don't want to let your guard down. Still a multi-day here severe weather threat is expected here from the Central Plains and Southern Plains Tuesday, then Tennessee Valley and Deep South here on Wednesday, Mid-Atlantic and Eastern Seaboard as we head into Thursday. So a 3-day severe weather potential. Then you got to look at the heavy rainfall and flooding potential here with the storm system moving into the desert southwest with this trough here. A marginal risk from the Weather Prediction Center of excessive rainfall here in the Los Angeles region, getting down to southern portions of California, here southwestern California with some potential of some heavy rain, especially as you have a lot of concrete and pavement here in these bigger cities. The heavier rainfall potential is more enhanced because here there's not a lot of drainage, a lot of these, a lot of soil for this to kind of seep up into. So you have a lot of concrete, so it kind of runs off more than here, kind of seeps into the ground. And then here a marginal risk here of flash flooding. It was a couple isolated pockets of flash flooding from southwestern portions here of Missouri around Joplin, getting down towards portions of Tulsa, the east side here of the Oklahoma City metro area, getting down toward Dallas-Fort Worth. Maybe Conway, Arkansas, just west and northwest of Little Rock, and got to watch that. Maybe down into Texarkana, marginal risk of flash flooding as we head into here, our Tuesday and Wednesday. This is the total rainfall output here, seeing some much needed rain across California, good soaking rain across these areas that need it desperately with the big drought going on. Also some much needed rain across the central and southern plains, getting up into the upper Midwest with some snow on the backside. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But a couple of inches of rain here, 1 to 3 inches in general across portions of Oklahoma, getting up into southwestern portions here of Missouri, getting into northwestern Arkansas, getting down into northeast Texas with a few inches of rain, especially in the higher elevations with some snow across California and down here into the southwestern California. Areas like Los Angeles, California, could see upwards of 2 inches of rain as we head here through the early and mid next week. And then here, looking ahead at all this here, that is how all this storm's kind of going to go with these, the line pushing from west to east. Got to see some heavier rainfall here potential with this. Not expected to see here the rainfall staying over the same areas for a long period of time, but these thunderstorms will have a lot of moisture, so they can dump a lot of rain, even if they're progressive here from west to east, moving across these areas. Still could dump a lot of torrential rainfall, so be on guard for that. Then we got the cold side of the storm here. You can see snowfall here across the area, across northern plains into the upper Midwest here, across the Dakotas. Some mixed precipitation with a wing of precipitation with that warm front here getting across southern portions of Minnesota, northern Iowa, northern Illinois, and then this will kind of lift up to the north with more warm air advection being pushed to your north with a strong low pressure system. And a decent snow is expected across the Dakotas into Minnesota, especially northern Minnesota, northwest Wisconsin, and towards Lake Superior up to those areas. Could see several inches of snow, and this will continue through the week. A few inches of snow are possible here across portions of northern and central Minnesota around Minneapolis, St. Paul, eastern portions especially of North Dakota, a couple inches of snow, and maybe northern Wisconsin up into the UP of Michigan around Lake Superior and in the Arrowhead of Minnesota could be seeing several inches of snow, could be seeing potentially up to around 8, 9, 10, 11, even a foot of snow across a couple of these areas, with more intense snow staying up here across the international border into Canada with the storm system. The freezing rainfall threat with this, with the mixed precipitation of sleet and freezing rain, expected across central portions here of Minnesota, northern portions here of Wisconsin, into UP of Michigan, northern portions of Michigan here as well, into the northeast. Expecting generally about a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch of ice, so enough to make things very slick, also enough to maybe weigh down some of those tree branches, especially if they can accumulate with all the warmer ground of late. But here we'll have to wait and see how that happens. Do expect probably some winter weather advisories, maybe some ice storm warnings across this area for this here ice potential. We'll have to see how that works out in the coming days. But do be on guard for that, as freezing rain is a threat with this storm system. Looking ahead, the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center showing below average temperatures across here the middle of the country, with centered on Illinois, Indiana here, much below average temperatures here as we head into the first week of April. Much warmer across the west as a big ridge is going to start here to develop across the western half of the country, and this will only translate eastward across these areas as we head into April. And then here to the eastern side here of the country, across the east coast down to the southeast, above average temperatures here are expected. Drier than normal across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes region, and the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic, and in the Northeast here as we head into the first week or so of April. Some more precipitation across here the Four Corners region, getting down to the southeast. Kind of drier than normal across the west and southwest, with more of that ridge starting to take over with high pressure across those areas. And then the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook goes through April 9th. Below average temperatures are likely across the eastern 2/3 of the country here as the trough kind of sets up here in the middle of the country with the storm track kind of in the middle of the country with more of northwest flow, with a big ridge still developing and pushing slightly eastward here toward the middle of the month of April. And this will only translate from west to east. So I think toward the middle and end of the month of April, this big ridge will push to the east here into the central portion of the country and bring a lot of more warmer air, unstable air, with yet again another chance for some severe weather potential here as we head toward the middle of April as well. And here seeing a lot of drier conditions across the Great Lakes here into the upper Midwest regions. Southeast seeing some rainfall potential. Also in the Four Corners region, still some drier than normal conditions around Nevada, southern Oregon, getting into here portions of California as we head into that here middle of April as well. Thank you for watching my video, and be sure to like my video here. Leave any comments below on any of my weather content. I do appreciate all your comments. And remember to subscribe to my channel, as I'll have great weather content all throughout the week and into next week, covering this severe weather potential and all the snowfall here. And I do have a website coming out here in a couple weeks regarding weather. So I have a nice interactive website here that I am developing that will be here expected to be finished as we have in the next couple of weeks. So thank you for watching.